Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Ceres in Sagittarius in a natal chart. Now, Ceres in astrology can be connected with how one may nurture and care, but it could also reflect how one may desire to be nurtured and cared for. Now, given that this is a Sagittarius, this could be done, this nurturing through religion, through maybe encouraging others to expand their horizons, go outside the box, so to speak. It could be through outdoor activities. Outdoor activities, of course, can always, it could be good for promoting mental health, as an example. For others, it could be through sports, getting others involved with interaction with others that way. And the nurturing may be done with a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm as well, but also by instilling optimism in others, being very expansive, encouraging others to see the positive, be that incorrigible optimist, so to speak, and also through higher learning, higher education. Now, it could also be by injecting humor with others, especially people that are very disconsolate or feeling down and out. This could be a person that might be able to help uplift people's spirits through humor and trying to see the funny or flippant side of things. So anyway, now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with dissipated self-worth or self-esteem. Now, given that we're talking about Sagittarius energy, this may be attributed to maybe some issues connected with one's philosophy, whether one may have been condemned for it or what have you. It could be through some religious issues, whether it could be through maybe some contentious situation with somebody at a religious congregation, or again, going back to the condemnation, being condemned for one's religious beliefs. Could also be through foolhardy or reckless actions. It could be by doing, such as gambling, for example, or taking some unnecessary risk. This could be in really, or maybe for example, even jumping into a relationship in a foolhardy manner. Say this is in the seventh house in one's natal chart, jumping into a relationship recklessly and then facing repercussions, perhaps because of that, by not looking at all, the pros and cons, or really evaluating the character of the person that the person may have gotten involved with, as an example. Now, Ceres in astrology could also be associated with eating issues or disorders that are connected with eating and food. Now, given this is Sagittarius energy, this may be done on a large scale. It could be done in a very prodigious manner. If somebody that has this placement in isolated cases does have an eating issue, and if they are binging, it could very well be on a grand scale, and doing so maybe with sports food or things that you just generally eat while you're kind of hanging out watching sports on TV, or if you're at a ballpark, devouring hot dogs and popcorn and that kind of food, basically. But it could also be done, sadly, with a lot of enthusiasm and exuberance if this person is having some eating issue or disorder. But these are very isolated. And again, an eating disorder can be very distorted and enlarged with displacement, I would say, given that this is Sagittarius energy. And let's say you have this in adverse aspect to Jupiter, that could even increase that propensity to having an enlarged issue associated with eating, if that is the case. But again, that could be very isolated. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with raising children. Now, the thing about this is if you are in a situation where you are raising children, it might be through a very religious upbringing. It could be done by encouraging children to be very philanthropic and very benevolent and being very positive with others in their dealings with others. It could be through some kind of sports environment or athletic environment. It might be by encouraging them to go outside and be outdoors. That staying inside and being very introverted is not the way to go. Of course, if your child has some very introverted or introspective chart, then it might be a little bit more difficult, such as having a preponderance of planets on the bottom half of the chart, as an example. But anyway, But it could also be by having your children. You might really when you're if you're raising children, it might be done again with that Sagittarius like enthusiasm, exuberance, a very expansive manner, and really by really telling maybe trying to get them to be educated after high school through college, higher education. This could be things that you might want to inspire your children to do. So those are some ways this could manifest and pan out. Now, also Ceres in astrology can also be associated, sadly, with one being coerced against their will, through forceful means, and um, it can be associated with kidnappings and abductions. Now, most people in their life are not going to be abducted or kidnapped, of course, but in the isolated case, this may transpire. It could be through something maybe connected with the law, or maybe a notorious lawbreaker or felon might be involved. It could be a foreigner. It might be somebody that could really be, could have like these Sagittarius qualities. It could be somebody very self-righteous. And also, too, given that Sagittarius energy is on a very large scale, it can be connected with a very big, prodigious ransom, and it might be something. The abduction could be over some publishing issue or publishing rights. I mean, Sagittarius is associated with publishing. It could be through somebody that just might be simply a drifter or a meanderer, or somebody that's got a very kind of flighty nature. Um, so now, and it could either involve, in some cases, it might be a Sagittarius sun, moon, or ascendant person, or again, a person that embodies Sagittarius characteristics. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with family connections, and given that this is Sagittarius, it might be one that's very expansive, jovial, and jocular. You might have had experiences where a lot of practical jokes were played on each other, one where you had instilled a lot of humor and just a lot of goodwill. But at the same time, it can be one where people just were very blunt and even sometimes downright tactless and spoke their veritable truth, whether and not worrying about the repercussions. But it could also be one of a very religious type of family that you involved with. So those are some ways that this could manifest, and it could pan out for others. So anyway, Ceres in astrology can also be connected with dejection, sorrow, and disappointment. Now, given that this is Sagittarius, some cases it might be through some discrimination. Maybe it might be over being a foreigner in a certain area. It might be over some issues with the law, or it might be through some religion. It might be through indoctrination in some cases, or maybe your religion, your religious outlook or belief might not coincide with others. It might be due to just simply being foolhardy or over optimistic about something, and things not panning out the way you anticipated, and being despondent because of that. It could be something in association with sports or athletics, something not going right. It could be maybe not attaining some kind of sports ambition. Say this is in your 10th house in your natal chart, and that house of career ambitions, and you have this there and it's strongly afflicted. It could be a situation where maybe there was some issue where you were trying to attain a sports career and it just didn't quite pan out the way you wanted to. Say if this is an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn in your chart, and you have Ceres and Sagittarius in the 10th house as an example, that could reinforce and reaffirm maybe some despondency in connection with that. Ceres in astrology can also be connected with protective energy. Now, given that it's Sagittarius, it might be one that might be very really protective of people they may be involved with in a religious congregation, if they are involved with one. Maybe their rights for their freedom to meander, to roam, to be able to go where he or she wants to go when the person wants to do it, for adventure, for exploration, for foreign travel, and even over things that are published. And it might be a person that's very really very stringent about having like copyrights on things that are published and making sure nobody else is taking what the person has as far as what might be published. So anyway, well, Ceres can be also associated with clothing. This could be a person that might be very interested in like very like sporty athletic clothing such as tennis shoes, jogging wear, even getting like sports apparel, things of that nature, jogging, wearing sports, things that are sports related. It could be getting those, like those sports, those replica sports jerseys that you see advertised a lot. And since Sagittarius doesn't do anything on a small scale, this person might have a very prodigious collection of clothing as well, and might be a little bit reckless in the spending habits as far as purchasing outfits go. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with something that one may obliterate in order to restore what one may previously have had. Now, given that this is a Sagittarius energy, in some cases, it could be about ending something with a philosophical outlook or belief, or it could be something with publishing that they may decide to eradicate in order to restore maybe religion. Now, say if this is in the 8th house, for example, it might be about somebody eradicating a philosophy connected with the occult or supernatural, which could include astrology, in order to have their religion restored, perhaps with somebody they're in an intimate relationship with. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.